So the microphones are open for Stump the Chair, and as I see them going, but I will go to the far microphone who I saw line up quite a bit ago. So,
hi, Kathy Aronson. Two things. One, I just want to say thank you again for allowing the board members to interact with the community, because I think that's super valuable, and I am so glad, because when you were all sequestered off and we couldn't interact, I don't know, it's just better. And the second thing, the note that you give to the NOMCOM of the what you're looking for, I think it would be really helpful to go over that at the beginning of the election speeches and such, so that everybody, A, knows it exists, and B, has it in their mind while they're listening to people talk. That's just my take on it, but I think that it's important for the community to be well-versed in what the board is looking for, or the things that they need.
thank you for that excellent suggestion. Again, this was a first-time process, so that's great feedback. And I can see Madeline writing down John's. I thank you for that. I think, yeah, if we can find better ways to integrate that, we are looking that to be a suggestion, and I stress a suggestion, to the NOMCOM and the community. If there are ways that the board is looking for support, that is how we're looking to communicate it going forward. So thank you for that. I'm going to go with front microphone next.
Okay, Kevin Locke, QTS. I'd like to address a source of bad registry data, and that is the ARIN staff's policy of extreme vetting when it comes to legal entities and their history and all of that.
Okay.
It's not a problem when an org comes to ARIN the first time, signs an RSA, because everything is obviously in real time. But as time passes, 10, 15, 20 years, and usually this gets involved in M&A type activities, those types of tickets. You can uncover problems, the I's not dotted, T's not crossed, and there's a very real risk, at least from the perception of the ARIN user opening the ticket, that they could lose access to the resources, regardless of the fact that they've been operating in good faith, serving customers for that whole time. So what I'd like to see the ARIN staff do is move towards a policy that's more similar to the way domain names are handled, where there's a presumption of innocence. If you are the point of contact, if you're in control of everything else related to that registration, mailing address, billing, and everything else, that you assume that they're acting in good faith unless you have positive evidence of fraud. Now, obviously, I fully support ARIN's mission of combating fraud. Nobody wants to see that. But in the domain space, it's so much easier to manage registrations, and yet there is fraud that sometimes occurred. It's not pervasive. There's methods of handling it with the UDRP and the civil courts, or perhaps even the registry policies themselves of clawing things back if there's evidence of something happening. The consequence of this and how this relates to the bad who is data is there's a very real palpable fear of opening an ARIN ticket, and it turns out it's somewhat justified due to this extreme vetting process. And by adopting a more, an easier process for updating domain records, you may get more records updated and more accurate data. Thanks.
Okay. I think the high level we'd say is we've always given the staff direction that we want our services to be easy to use and friendly, but that the integrity of the registry has to, of course, trump. So I don't know if John wants to comment deeper on.
Yeah, I was actually intrigued by your comment that says there's risk to opening an ARIN ticket. There was a period of time when that was true. I don't think at this point it is, for someone who doesn't have real evidence of bad activity. It is possible for you to approach ARIN and have us say, wow, what you're trying to clean up really doesn't look like it's yours, and we're going to lock it. But I don't know of revocation that takes place. I truly, in the last 5 years, we've gotten away from that. We've told people, come in and normalize your resources.
Yeah, and I've heard you say that previously, and I thought, and that's true. That may be true. You may not be actually revoking, but you've still got outdated entity names that can't be updated, accounts that can't be consolidated to simplify things for ARIN and the org. So there is still very real negative consequences to the extreme vetting. There's benefits and there's costs to that. And I would just like to see it move more towards a more practical, easier to use, and then you can publicize that, like, look, we've made this, streamlined this process, and unless we see evidence of fraud, we're going to go forward with these. We're going to believe you're acting in good faith.
Okay. Now I'm going to switch it around just to listen to what you said. I agree with you, but I just want to explain your normalization or someone's normalization of their registration is in some number of cases, someone else hijacking your resources. So, if I tell the community, when someone shows up and says that your resources are actually theirs and things look pretty good, I'm going to normalize the record for them and they'll have your block. Because every block we update was someone else's, and we're protecting that party who may not be in the room at the moment. When it's you being protected, you're like, oh, whoa, you're doing it right. But when you're on the other side, it seems wrong. Do you see the issue there?
Not really, because what I was suggesting is if the, and maybe I didn't say this clearly enough, that if you have a point of contact that has an ARIN online account that's already the authority in the system to do everything else, update the address, mailing address, that is sufficient. Obviously, with legacy resources where there's no RSA, that's really is a different topic. I'll give you that one. But in the case where you know, there is a positive control already existing through, in some cases, two-factor authentication on the website, you know, then
we will do.
I think
we
you
will,
should trust that.
We will do what you're asking. Come find me afterwards. I want to know that use
No,
case.
I was going to say, but my suggestion would be is, because my day job also has a domain registrar, and there's no amount of, no lack of fraud occurring there. So perhaps it is interesting that we can
Come
look,
find me.
we can look at some of the challenges and how they've solved them and that, because there is some similarities. So I think it's good that we could look to see if there are ways to improve. Rear microphone, noting that we are running out of people speaking, so we will have to close the microphones if people don't come.
Lee Howard, IPv4.global. Your friendly neighborhood brokerage community is here to help.
A no ad, please.
Well, in that specific case, there are people in the community who can help with certain facilitation. That's where I was going, not as an advertisement. B, what I really came out to talk about was to say, I complained this morning because I was tired, but as I watched the slides today and thought about the slides yesterday, this community, really mostly the staff here, generate so many acronyms and so much jargon that doesn't need to be there. I saw so many slides today using acronyms that didn't need to be acronyms. That could have been a word that would make more reference and then therefore make it not just easy. There was no acronym today that I didn't know what it meant. It took me a minute to, during Mark Koster's presentation, to remember what HSM stood for. So there's no acronym I didn't understand, but it's not actually, but it's actually, I think, impeding comprehensibility and the ability to participate rather than making things clearer. So please try and reduce that for the next meeting.
I act that suggestion.
Thank you.
The microphone,
Kevin,
took you a while, but you all got there. The microphones will be closing soon. Please approach a microphone, far microphone.
so I saw something consistently with a number of the speeches, and I'll be extremely generic, which was a complete lack of understanding between the PDP and the ACSP. We'll just have this go to the community and go through a policy development process.
I'm sorry, could you do us a favor, please, and restate your comment without acronyms, please? For the
That's what I'm doing.
health of the gentleman over there.
I'm doing that on purpose, but the point was that the policy development process has an extremely limited set of things that it can touch. The suggestion process has its own set of things that it can touch. And I got a real sense from the candidates generically that there was a complete lack of understanding between those two. I believe that just like you have a board briefing document to explain, hey, we're about to now load you with 20 years of history, I think that something similar for both advisory council, board, and NRO in terms of providing a briefing document to somebody who wants to run so that they have A, an understanding of the community, and B, an understanding of the work that they're going to be putting in towards this community.
John would like to go first.
So it would be nice if we had a sort of mini leadership development program, sort of something that would let people learn about this is what ARIN is, and we have a board, we have an AC, if you're familiar with it now, this is the PDP, this is how we're structured, this is what each organization
if
does.
only there was
its
one.
responsibilities. If you go look on the ARIN website for leadership development program, it's there. We actually, this year, rolled it out. We had volunteers, people who wanted to potentially run for the AC or board, and we trained them in what ARIN was. We actually gave them a phone call with board members and AC members who volunteered, and actually the lesson plans are online. It's part of our new training library. But
That could
I
be
don't
good
think
lesson.
we're pedantic when it comes to telling them about the key differences like PDP and policy, what can be in policy versus the consultation and suggestion plan. I am happy to make it more pedantic. I have a forte in this area and shall apply my skills to the training material.
The act of being pedantic was an example, John. It's about getting the nominees that information in advance to be able to speak in a way that A, shows that they're informed, and B, that they understand our community. So that was the
Agreed.
first.
We thank you for the feedback. Yes, thank you.
The second thing was I really want to compliment ARIN on the fellowship program for this meeting. I was a mentor. I've been a mentor for probably 8 or 9 different meetings, and the caliber of the fellows was very much appreciated. We have had a couple times where I was, from a personal point of view, was very disappointed in the people that were chosen, and I was really impressed this time round. And I know it's cyclical and everything else, but I could really see a key difference in the quality of the fellows that were coming to the community and that would be able to give back to the community. So I would like to thank staff for the selection and all of that, and I would like to thank the fellows who've really shone at this meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for noting that the staff trumped the board in most cases, as always. So, okay, suddenly have a resurgence of questions. So this gentleman who's been waiting, front microphone, please.
Scott Johnson, SolarNet One. I'm an ARIN member and as well a fellow this time around. And I wanted to thank the board, the advisory council, the staff, my wonderful mentor, Joe Provo. You guys have done a tremendous job putting this program on, and I urge you to continue and expand it in the future. Try to target the young people in the colleges to bring some young blood in because, you know, we're all getting a little gray every now and again, and we need to make sure that the internet is in good hands as the future moves along. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment. And don't forget to vote since you're a member. Far microphone.
There was a comment, sorry, Martin Levy-Klaufler. There was a comment 5-10 minutes ago about timing on this meeting and running it in conjunction with NANOG. So this is just a repeat of a statement that has been said many, many times. Joint meetings with NANOG are very advantageous and I believe increase the amount of people that are capable of coming, myself included, and I wish that that would continue. That's it.
Thank you for that feedback. Front microphone.
John Olson, Web Highway Communications. I want to echo what Scott was saying. This has been incredible for me as a fellow. I learned a great deal, and having the opportunity to attend NANOG and realize these resources when I've been in this industry for most of my life. I mean, I was Portmaster boy in the old dial-up days. So this has been incredible. Tina, you were great last night. A lot of information. You guys are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. This will be the last comment unless somebody approaches a microphone before the end of David's comment. Oh, sorry, I started you off. Go ahead.
I'm David Farmer, University of Minnesota, ARIN AC. Thank you, everybody. But then also to the last couple points here, we all need to start bringing some of our junior people to these meetings so that we can populate the next time around.
Thank you. Thank you, David. And with that, the microphones are now closed unless there's a remote participant. With that, we will close open microphone. Thank you very much. John?